Welcome to MX Matters, which is where we discuss all things related to media experience and the trends that are shaping today's visual economy. My name is Sam Brace, and I am the Director of Customer Education for Cloudinary, and I will also be the host for this episode. In this episode, we are talking with Liat, who is a Senior Product Manager for Cloudinary. And she's going to be walking us through a feature that was actively enhanced over the course of 2020 that is meant for our digital asset management solution. This is called Collections. And it's a great way to organize and share all of the assets that happen to be within a DAM system internally, maybe to certain users and user groups, or externally to people that need to get that media but may not require a DAM user seat. It's an amazing feature, and we even get into some of the details about something called the Brand and Media Portal, which is an excellent tool to be able to show many different types of pieces that you need for branding, such as logos or headshots of your executive team, all in one easy to use, as well as very well-designed space. Ultimately, this does address a major trend in the visual economy because more and more people need to be able to easily collect and organize their assets and deliver them in many different ways and actually have some automation behind it as well. Liat's going to cover all of that in this episode. So let's not waste any more time and let's get right to our interview with Liat, and make sure to stick around for a few notes from me at the end. Welcome to the program.
Hey Sam, thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to talk to you about what we're going to be covering here today because I think collections are such a game-changing tool and feature for those that are using Cloudinary for digital asset management purposes. But before we dive into any of those details, take the time to just introduce yourself because this might be the first time that people are getting to learn about the ever fabulous Liat.
Thank you, Sam. So my name is Liat and I'm a Senior Product Manager here at Cloudinary. I'm part of the DAM team and our mission is to keep developing the digital asset management solution for marketers. And yes, we're going to talk about collections and how it can help you collaborate better between teams in your company. So let's just dive right in.
Absolutely. And I think as you're pulling up this demo, I think the one thing to keep in mind of this is that this is such a flexible tool, in my opinion, because rather than having to put everything into tight structures with folders or having to worry about zipping files constantly, this makes it for a much more sustainable way to be adding assets into these collections so you can really share them internally, externally. We even use many of this for our own purposes at Cloudinary. So it's one of those things where I think once this tool was created by you and many others on the team, the use cases just became endless.
Yes, you're right. Collections, they are kind of albums. So they allow you to gather assets from different places around your media library and to gather them together into this one album or container, this collection. And you don't have to move the assets from their original locations. And that gives you some new abilities to work with this collection. So creating the collection is very, very easy. And after creating the collection, it is also very easy to share it internally with other users or user groups, and of course, externally with other vendors and more. Let's start by creating this collection. So in order to do that, I'll just search for some assets to gather from different places. I will look for images with one person inside and maybe a predominant color of pink. You can see here that we have some images I can work with. I will just select some of them and add them to a collection. Now I can add them to a predefined collection that we already created before, or I can just create a new one. So here it is. I can create it. And all the 5 assets I selected are already part of it. Now we can already see the collection. We have assets here from different places. Some of them are from the people folder, some of them are not. Here, they are all gathered together and we can start work with them. Let's try to share it. I have two options how to share it. I can share it with users or user groups. All I need to do is just to choose who I want to share it with. For example, I can choose the digital marketer, and I need to decide which permission, what kind of permission I would like to give him. So I can give him the permission to only view this collection or to collaborate. It means also to add his own assets to this collection, or I can give him the entire owner permission, which means he can also share it outside, he can delete it if needed. For this marketer, I will give only the ability to collaborate, and I will save these changes. Now, this digital marketer can check his mail and he can see that he received an email saying this was shared with him. Now, there's another option how I can use this collection to share it externally. I can create a public URL that will create a public web page that I can share externally via email with anyone I want. So I will create it right now. And let's take a look at this shared collection. It was created very quickly, as you can see, Sam. You can see the name of the collection. It's the Pink Collection. And you can see all the assets I gathered in this collection. And this is a public URL. I can share it to you, with you by email. And no matter where you work and which company you are, you can take it, open it, and take a look at it. You can also drill down into each asset and you will be able to see the image. You can copy its URL or to download it locally to your machine. And if needed, you can also download the entire collection at one click here. This will immediately create a zip URL that will allow you to download it all as one file. So this is our public sharing collection.
With the file sizes in terms of like width and height, and also just the actual weight of these images, these are all images that I would consider to be print ready. You can see like some of these 6,000 by 4,000 pixels. And in previous iterations of Cloudinary, the only way to really have shared that is to share the web-ready versions of this, where you would have been consuming lots of bandwidth because you're putting forth delivery URLs. But now, because of this, it makes it where you're creating a version that's meant much more for sharing the original in probably a much more sustainable way, which I think this is one more reason why this is such a tool that's really built for the DAM administrator, for those that are going to be having to deliver content to creative teams, to marketing teams. So I think this is an amazing output.
Yeah, I think you described perfectly what this collection sharing is about. You can also share PDF files here and videos. You can share all kind of files here, and it will be shared with anyone you want. They don't have to be DAM users in order to see that.
Because when you're looking at something like the way that sharing may have been done with just folders and whatnot, you really had to have that person have a DAM user seat. But now, if I needed to quickly get those 5 images over to, let's say, like an agency or someone that's in the media and say, hey, here's all the files that you need, I don't have to make sure that I'm creating a new folder structure. I can just grab all the files I need, quickly develop it ad hoc, and then get it out. And exactly. I really, really think this is a huge game changer in this case, especially exactly. when you have to work with all the files that you need.
Exactly. And it's very important to say that you can also stay in control. You know, it's public, but you can always gain back your control by adding this expiration date for the public URL. So if I want this public URL to be expired in like 5 or 6 days, I can totally do that. And I don't need to remember that or remove the public URL. It will be removed automatically on this expiration date.
And the other one that I've even seen used is where you are manipulating the start date as well, where let's say that you have like a big press release and you're going to have associated images with it. Rather than having the start date be today, you could put it to when you know the release is going to be going live or when that coverage is going to be going out. So that way, if for some reason that gets leaked or it gets out to the public in some way, then they can't see any of the details of a collection till the start date happens. So it adds a nice layer of security for those big announcements that you may be doing on your end. Now that we've seen a way to go and create a collection, do nice sharing between internal team members, also sharing externally, is there a way that ultimately, let's say I have lots of content that I'm ultimately saying is brand ready, and I want to be able to expose it. So rather than having one link to this collection or one link to that collection, is there something that your team has developed that's allowing us to take everything that's going to be tied to the brand or the media side of things together?
For these kind of use cases, we have the media portal. Our portal is a way to distribute assets, collections actually. It's a place when you can grab ready to distribute collections, gather them together, and then distribute them all together as one website that you can share again outside. This kind of URL you can also embed in websites, in your website. Let's take a look of how we create that. On the left menu, we have the ability to go into the settings of the portal. So you can see now that I have a portal. Its name, its title, it's My Ecom Collection. I can change it to Sam's new portal. And I can choose which collections I want to be part of this portal and be presented in it. So we just created the pink collection. Let's add the pink collection to this portal. And I can also drag and drop, just to make sure this collection will be first in my portal. And I will save my changes. And now let's take a look at the portal. So as you can see, the title is Sam's New Portal, and it kind of look pretty much the same, but it's a really different feature. You can see different collections that are part of this portal. In this case, I have like 6 or 7 here. I can jump between them, just to browse them if needed. I can see for each collections how many assets are inside. I can expand and collapse each one, just for better navigation if needed. And again, for each asset, I can drill down inside. I can take a look at the image, copy its link, download the specific image, or to navigate forward and back between all the assets in the portal. And of course, again, I can also download an entire collection by selecting this button. So it will create a zip file from all these assets together and will download it immediately. So here's the pink collection we created just a few minutes ago. You can see that it's first here on the list, on the anchors on the left, and you can see all its assets. And this URL you can take and embed wherever you want. You can send it by email or embed it in your website.
What I love about it is just the fact that it makes this so sustainable, because if we have, I could see this being used for many different purposes. Like, let's say that we have logos for a company. You want to make sure that people have the right downloadable assets for those. Or if you have headshots of your C-suite team members, like CEOs and COOs, and you want to make sure that those ones for brand and media purposes are there, those are going to be there. But let's say, like, you change up the logos, or you have a brand new team member, or somebody changes in the guard. That's easy, because as long as you're changing those details of the collections, it guarantees that the portal is going to be updated in the same way. So your portal is kind of like an ever-growing, sustainable, dynamic brand page.
You're totally right about that. Any change you do in the collection or in an asset that inside the collection is reflected to the portal as well. So if you add assets to the collection, or if you remove or reduce the number of assets in the collection, this will be reflected in the portal immediately. So for example, if I'll go to this collection that we created and called it pink one, and I will take this woman and just remove it from the collection. I will just refresh my page, and you can see that she's gone. It was that quick, and we only have 4 images now. This is how quick these changes are being made. And as the portal manager, you can be sure that anything you share here is the most updated version, the most updated name, the most updated thumbnail. So you can be sure anyone that you shared it with will get the most updated assets from your media library without getting access to the media library itself. You don't need to give them a seat. You don't need to give them access to your entire media library, just the assets that you choose to give permission to see.
This is a very nice user interface. This is something where you can easily scroll through. You can get all of the ways to drill down and get some detail about any of those assets, whether they're images or videos. So if you are in a situation, those that are watching, and you're saying, well, I don't have time to style a brand portal, and it'd be great if someone could just do that for me. It's like, well, great, we did. So all you have to do is just build the collections, get everything the way you want arranged, and then knowing that it can be displayed in this pretty nice looking way is something that I think can save people hours, if not days of time to get it ready for website purposes.
You talked about the idea of using this as a brand portal, a place where you can gather all your brand assets, your logo, your colors, the headshots of your management in the company. That can be one use case where you can use this kind of portal. Another way to use it is, for example, for your events. When you have a big event in your company, not that we have these kind of events right now, but when we do have, you have tons of images that you want to share, maybe from launching a new product, and you don't have the time to create a solution for sharing these assets in your website. Your website is about, total different things. It's about products. And having this as a solution for sharing and distributing assets like that can be very handy and can save you a lot of time.
And I think that's one thing that I'm definitely seeing as a common thread, not just with your presentation, but with a lot of the product initiatives that were coming from what we did in 2020, is that a lot of this is streamlining and automating and trying to create it where ultimately things that took time, we're trying to shorten that length. Now that we've seen all of these various details in terms of how collections can be made, how we can share them with internal users, with external users and stakeholders, and then of course how everything can be combined into this really nice sharing portal with the brand and media portal that we have here, what does it take for someone to be able to start utilizing this? Like, what if I'm a user today, what does it take for me to be able to start building and using collections?
Okay, so creating collection is a feature that's available for everyone. Everyone that have access to the media library can search for assets, gather them around into collections and use it. But in order to share it internally or externally, you need to have the right plan for that. So for that, I will have to ask you to go to your salesman and ask for more information about it. More information about the collections you can find in our documentation, in our training course, and our blog posts that we posted during the last year. We did a lot of work around that during the last year.
What we've shown here is really just a taste of what collections can offer, as well as what the portal can offer. But there's lots of other use cases. There's lots of ways to think about your sharing strategy in terms of who sees it and who doesn't. So a lot of that can be covered in the training courses, the blog posts, and the documentations that we have linked here. Now that we've seen collections, and once again, even though I'm a power user of collections for my own purposes at Cloudinary, I'm still always blown away by it. Liat, thank you again, and I am so excited to hear from you soon.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye, Sam.
As you can see, collections are a fabulous tool. And I hope that you take the time to investigate how you can organize and collect your content with Cloudinary's DAM system simply by signing up for a free account if you haven't already gone and done so. Or, of course, if you already are a Cloudinary customer and you're utilizing this tool today, please keep doing it. We love to see all the work you're doing with our systems. A few notes from me. If you are watching this on YouTube or the Cloudinary Academy, or if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts or many other places where we happen to host our content, thank you for doing so. What we would love for you to do is, if you like this, make sure that on the channel or the service that you're watching or listening to this on, that you're liking it as well as subscribing. So that way you get notified when all the new episodes come out for MX Matters, as well as other programs that are coming out from Cloudinary. In addition, if you decide to share this episode with your network, simply send us an email. You can do that by emailing support@cloudinary.com. What this will do is it will allow our support team to increase your Cloudinary plan by 1 credit. This will help when you're delivering images to have a little bit more wiggle room with bandwidth, or for storage, or for overall transformations. And it's our way of saying thank you for watching our content and participating in all of the work that we're doing to try to help developers, DAM administrators, those that have to work with rich media assets to better work with that type of content. On behalf of all of us at Cloudinary, thank you for watching this episode of MX Matters, and come back for the next one, where we will discuss all things related to the media experience and the trends that are shaping today's visual economy. See you then.